Max wanted music.
Because it's Toulon was the last words to that. Our referee today is Vivien Praderie with Adrien Descotes on one of the sides, and the TMO hopefully won't need them too much. All set to go then, Dan Bigger back on the pitch, having recovered from injury. And Toulon kick off wearing all red. And it's dropped immediately by Alberti. And a advantage already for Toulon. That is not the start that UBB want, as Beka Gigashvili charges into Jefferson Poirot. Advantage is over. And all of a sudden, Mados Tamboy is away and running, and this boy can run. And he's away already. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and Unam Bordeaux Begles, who performed the knock-on off the kick-off, have scored the first try. And when Damien Penaud is not around, it makes no difference to UBB, because they have another flying winger. Well, that is one of the more unusual starts you'll get in a rugby game.
What an extraordinary start. A rags to riches 30 seconds for Bordeaux. They can't control the first kickoff receipt, but then neither could Toulon control their attack. They had plenty of runners, just nobody knew who was going to get the ball. And Madosh Tambwe is the beneficiary of just an incredible start.
Well, Madosh Tambwe, who was the star of the show as Unam Bordeaux Begles came from behind to beat Lyon in the barrage last season. He rather has his opportunities limited because of a certain Damien Penaud, who's come into the side this season, but he cannot be underestimated.
That's a way to silence the crowd from the Pilu Pilu, and he's got those long strides. Almost looked like he was going to get caught there. Had the big left arm ready with the fend, and eventually found a little bit of quicksand, I think, in that 22. It was a long way to run, especially after coming flying up on defence. In the end, 5 points, 7 points, and they still can't control it, Bordeaux.
It's me, and another knock-on. And I think that... well, they probably think, well, it worked once, why not do it again?
Couldn't cough it quite up to Toulon this time. Finally, the game sort of settles down after that.
Not sure that Uberti has calmed down. However, this time, at least, it wasn't him. It was the Paul Abadi, the scrum half. Well, a few nerves, it seems, running through Bordeaux Begles, but only in certain players.
Not too much textbook about that. You wouldn't really want to watch that if you're learning to catch a ball full stop.
This time the referee didn't allow advantage, and it means a scrub for the first time in the game. So then, Priso, Bobigny and Gigashvili up against Poirot, Menardier and Big Ben Tamifuna. And boy, that's all sort of dug itself a hole into the ground in the middle. However, Toulon have it. Out by the dangerous Georgian Vasil Lobanidze. One comes back, Jefferson Poirot grabs it, knock on by Bordeaux Begles, and we'll have another scrum. Well, I don't know what they practiced in midweek, but nothing seems to be quite the way it should be at the moment. And even this was out of the textbook of Mados Tambwe. Brilliant run, but he caught the entire defence flat and nobody could catch up with him.
Well, he had to come from a long way out to in on defence as well. So as soon as the ball ricocheted off one of the Toulon players' heads, he really pinned his ears back to get to that bounce, hit it on a perfect angle, was against the grain, and ended up having the legs and the speed to go all the way.
One school child apologising to their teachers to say that they won't be at school tomorrow because they're watching Toulon against Bordeaux Begles. That's only going to work if the teacher's watching as well. So then, first one went down. Can the front row stay up this time? It's much more solid, much better. In it goes to Gaël Drian, 23-year-old right wing. Toulon up to the 5-metre line. Teddy Bobigny. Tackle called. Didn't really go forward very much out of that phase of play. Forward it comes to the inside centre. Duncan Power, one of the main creators in this Toulon side. Second row forward ribbons, the South African-born England international in his first season since arriving from Northampton. There was no advantage, so they're going to come back. Gigashvili there. Georgia side got off to a winning start in the Rugby Europe Championship earlier today, although Germany pushed them quite hard. Second tier of the Six Nations also getting underway this weekend. So that is Tavita Tatafu, not to be confused with the Tavita Tatafu that plays for Bayonne last night. Just to confuse things, he's also Tongan. Although this one is a Tongan-born Japanese international. Dan Biggar, former Welsh international, gets Toulon on the board. And that will help to calm them just a bit. End of Dan Biggar's time as an international called after the Rugby World Cup. He scored 260 points in 49 matches in Six Nations Rugby. Now concentrating on his club. Garcia gets us back underway again. And who has the fly half responsibilities tonight. Abadi looking for it. Missed pass. And Bordeaux Begles try their first foray forward. Then Tapoué, 35-year-old. Former Queensland Red, Western Force. In his first year with Bordeaux Begles, having come in from the Sharks in South Africa.
They've got some good momentum here at Bordeaux. I think there was a too long hand in this. I don't think this was a knock-on. They've been a little bit unlucky here. I think the tackle from Ribbons there knocked the ball away, but referee saw it as being a knock-on from Bordeaux. But they did get some good way on going forward, and they need it. They need to make the most of every chance they get. Sianaya Thalevu there, Fijian captain. Also in the Toulon backline, plenty of threats everywhere.
Yeah, it was a big signing from Stade Francais. Hasn't quite found the flow as yet, but he's certainly a chance creator when he's on song. Very, very elegant player. The usual chastisements for the front row. No premature engagement on the one side and keep yourselves under control on the other.
He's got both captains in there, the referee tonight. Jefferson Poirot and Teddy Bobigny. So there'll be plenty of questions, legitimate questions being asked by the captain of the referee.
Right. Captains are allowed to do that. Referees get a bit uppity when everybody else in the team starts refereeing for him. In it goes then from Lobanidze. Out the back by the Georgian, who was the youngest ever player to play at a Rugby World Cup a few years ago. Lobanitsa again, looking for Gigishvili and Bobigny to get onto this near side. It's the tight head prop who takes it. And, always love to see the players try to get out of the way. That was Paul Abadi trying to get out of the way. They're not always allowed to get out of the way by those trying to get a penalty for the opposition. Abadi back on his feet though. Jefferson Poirot, the loose head prop, former French international, stalwart. Interesting kick. Quite sure he caught that the way he was hoping. Back he comes the other way. Dan Bigger decided not to kick that one. Danny Priso. Ooh, that was a bit loose. And that was even looser. And it's intercepted by Nicolas Deporter, this flamboyantly rising and prodigiously talented 21-year-old centre. And they are coming through again, and that's just about rescued by Gaël Dréan. Aymeric Luc manages to get the ball away, doesn't find touch. Bordeaux Begles will bring it back again. They decide to run it. Here comes Garcia, France under-20 international. He's 21 years old now, though. Abadi, Poirot decides to keep it going along the line. All the forwards have suddenly gone into midfield. And it's a penalty. Not rolling away after the tackle. A bit careless that by Jules Coulon, the ex-France under-20 international, who scored 2 tries this season, both of which came against Clermont.
Got onto this ball very, very quickly, Coulon, but I think he was contacted. You see there, he got contacted immediately by a Bordeaux player. So it's a ruck. He's got to get his hands off the ball. He didn't have the rights to it, and that's what the penalties come for. Bordeaux very close there with the ball bobbling around there. Very hard to manage that, and Toulon looking pretty composed after that. Bigger got the clearance. Speaking of Dan Bigger, we talked about the losses to French rugby that we had the moment for before the match. Of course, Welsh rugby and World Rugby mourning today after the news about Barry John. Sad news that was at 79. So thoughts with the John family and the Quinnells and Welsh rugby and the rugby community.
And after the death of JPR Williams as well recently too, another absolute legend of Welsh rugby is Bordeaux Begles. Slot that one through the posts. They extend their lead again out. 10 points to 3. Minutes gone then. Oh, and finally a court restart. So maybe the exit will be a little bit smoother this time for Union Bordeaux Begles. Ben Tamifuna rumbles on, and it takes something to get past Becca Gigashvili. Ben Tamifuna, one of the stars of the Rugby World Cup recently, really did move it up a level. Oh dear, what's happened there with the baddie? He's kicked it back into the ruck. Oh dear. Well, I said, are they going to get a smoother exit? But so far, the basics are all over the place.
Toulon, I think, would be disappointed there. I think they were just walking up ready for a scrum, expecting another knock-on. But they've done their best, Bordeaux. Having successfully caught the ball, they've now given it back up to Toulon.
Not only are they not going to get a scrum out of that, they conceded a penalty, and Dan Bigger has decided not to go for the post this time. There it goes. Again, that's one of those things you just don't see very often. Just took his eye off the ball, I think. Looked up to see what he was going to do. So then Teddy Bobigny into the arms of Ribbons. And the second row forward lines up the driving maul. Bobigny has it. He's actually run into his opposite number, Clément Manadier. And, well, that didn't quite work out in the end, so they're going to have to go back to phase rugby. Forward by Brian Alanoese, the Samoan international. Another who was at the Rugby World Cup recently. Out by Lobanitsa. Lobanitsa tries that little classic nip and tuck underneath, but Union Bordeaux Begles were wise to it. They're inside the 5-metre line, 12 minutes gone. Looking for their first try. Taken on by Priso. Power from the loose head prop, but he's brought down too. But they are there and over. Well, power did it, and Beka Gigashvili, the other prop, is the man who's going to get the plaudits. His third try of the season in all competitions for club and country. And his first try in top 14 for the current campaign, and that was all about power, determination.
Yeah, good show of muscle from the Toulon forwards. Also, Lobjanadze, who's taking on the defence around the fringes, but finally they just flex the muscles. Question mark here over maybe were they taking the ball into the ruck, which is illegal. But they're the home team, got awarded, and good play by the forwards after the initial maul did not work so well.
One try each then. Dan Bigger with the conversion. No problem. So then, having gone behind early on, it is now level at 10 points apiece.
Rugby Club Toulonnais 10, Union Bordeaux Begles 10.
So off we go again then, and the first restart here for Toulon to actually catch. And they do it rather well, and they're already mauling forward. Lobjanadze in danger of getting squashed amongst the forwards. He manages to extricate himself. No real reason for him to get in there to start with, because they were doing quite well without him. High, bit short. Drian's underneath it. Offside.
Yeah, that's the problem with a kick that goes too short. All those players that were in front of the halfback as he kicked, they can't just stand there and not advance. They have to get out of the 10-metre band, 10 metres away from the ball where it's going to land before they can actually come into that, back into that zone. They weren't able to do that. You can't blame them.
No, you've got to have the presence of mind to know that that's happened, because it's a split-second thing, isn't it?
And communication. There needs to be a call there. Look, it's short. You've got to get out, guys. But the poor old forwards, they've just been pushing as hard as they can, winning the ball for the backs, and they're expected to just jump out of that 10-metre band. So poor execution really on the kick from Toulon is the problem there.
So now it's a driving maul from Union Bordeaux Begles, and they're making just as much headway, if not more. David Ribbons lost his bind and has to let go and go back round and rejoin again. That's gone down. The referee hasn't signalled a penalty. Come up to Abadi. Did well to hold on to that. He almost grabbed it from behind a Toulon man's head on the 5-metre line. 15 minutes gone, 10 points apiece. It's neck and neck at the moment between two sides who are making too many errors, I think, for their coaches' liking. That has gone a bit loose as well, but picked up by Tavita Tatafu. Reset. Mamadou Diaby, the powerful back row forward. Going backwards, though, at the moment, Union Bordeaux Begles. Good defence, this by Toulon. Forward they come once more with Matteo Garcia. Tamafuna, Tongan international. Just sets up play, really. And good counter-rucking from Toulon, and they might have turned the ball over. They have. That's fantastic. Great play. Jules Coulon getting in there and ripping the ball away. And Toulon escape a bullet there. Rather big bullet in the form of Ben Tamafuna.
Yeah, he's a beast, isn't he? He's a menace at ruck time as well. He's just so hard to shift, even when he's on defence there coming in at the ruck. Dan Bigger there showing some disappointment. I'm sure he and a number of his teammates would have loved to see this ball stay in, because there was no fullback back there for Bordeaux. They'd been on attack. Ball changed hands quickly, and that would have been a very interesting chase if that stayed in play.
Yeah, Mignot looking from the sideline, the former winner of the Challenge Cup with Lyon, and then has come in as one that's done the same thing with Toulon. They probably won't want to talk much about their Champions Cup campaign, though, this season. They lost all 4 games. Didn't even make it into the knockout stages of the second-tier competition. However, they can concentrate now on getting into the top 6 of the top 14. Now by Abadi. Oh, lovely offload. Picked up by Deporter. France under-20 international who could well soon be a full France international. Diaby, who seems to have lost the number 7 off the back of his jersey, has been ripped off. Slow progress again. Deporter, blind pass. Tackle coming in from Duncan Power. Still no way through to Tafu again, trying to break through. Diaby taking on 2 men, trying to draw in the tacklers and create that space further out. Abadi, ball forward by Tapue. Again, Aymeric Luke catches it, and then it's knocked on. So in the end, Bordeaux Begles do get progression, but not quite the way they were thinking.
Some encouraging moments for them there, Angus, as well. They found quite a bit of ground on the inside, making those inside passes. As soon as they started to try and move it wide, Toulon got a little bit of a line on them, like they did here. Whack. But when they were stretching out that defence around the fringes of the ruck and sending the ball back in, they just caught Toulon maybe not covering as well. Here's the end of it with the knock on. It's enough for Bordeaux to be encouraged with that attack. If they can stretch out those defenders close to the ruck and keep punching those holes on the inside.
So then scrum to Bordeaux Begles in an attacking position.
Flexion. Lié.
They've engaged a bit early. It's been one good scrum, one bad scrum so far through this game. Titanic battle on that far side, isn't it? Danny Priso against Ben Tamifuna. You want the camera on the other side when those two go head to head.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be anywhere near Ben Tamifuna on the field full stop. It's not always your choice, of course. I think you get dragged into orbit now and then. Get a little bit too close. Ben Tapuai was looking pretty interested, so he could be the distributor for this move. They've spread very, very wide Bordeaux out to this close touch.
Coming up to 20 minutes. Still 10 apiece. Ball fed in by Paul Abadi. Better, although it still collapsed. They got the ball out in time, though. Abadi once more. Here's Tambwe, who broke away for that early score, and look how evasive he is again. So hard to pin down the man who's a Democratic Republic of Congo born, but South African in nationality. Way by Bigger. Such an identifiable kick when he gets it going. This was Tambwe again, though, and he's just a game changer, isn't he?
Yeah, long strides, hard to really get a good shot on him, and he keeps his feet well balanced. It wasn't a bad line from Bordeaux there to attack inwards. Just wasn't quite the right sort of pass, and maybe it was just a late call. He didn't get that sympathetic pass, enabling him to run onto an easy one. Still on attack, though, Bordeaux. Good opportunity.
Indeed. And a bit messy. Tamifuna, though, is the man who got the crucial palm back. Uberti. Abadi into Jefferson Poirot. Jefferson Poirot decides to put his head down and just charge. Abadi again. Tamifuna. Ribbons. Desperately trying to hang on to him.
Non, 7, non, 7. Merci.
Picked up by Luke. Bigger.
Deux, stop. Un jeu.
Halfway through the first half.
Ne joue pas. Oui.
Away by Bigger again. He finds touch. And, well, that brings an end of the kicking. Not sure that anybody really won that kicking contest.
A bit of a mixed bag, but the more opportunities he gets, Dan Bigger, the more he's eventually going to make you pay with a good clearance. Good run from Uberti. Really put his head down, and here's, speaking of big runs as well, Ben Tamifuna, such a hard guy to bring down. He's got that acceleration, explosive power.
In he comes in from Clément Menadier. Away by Taftafu. Under pressure was the fly half Garcia, but they've still managed to keep it going. Tambwe again. He's put a foot in touch though. So Ben Tapuai will have to come back again.
He did well there, Ben Tapuai. He just shadowed that ball across. It got a little bit messy because Toulon came flying out of the line here. You watch Tapuai, he always stays live. He always stays close. He didn't get that pass there, but then he stays in the game there, feeds it on, was staying in support up the inside, kept his feet. Almost made something out of nothing then. They've probably, oh yeah, just a millimetre in it.
Just couldn't quite release in time, could he? Up in the air by Bigger. Uberti. Excuse me, that's Roman Buros, the fullback, who's taken that catch. Away by the fly half, Mateo Garcia. Former Bayonne man. In his 4th year now with Union Bordeaux Begles. Gets in. Not much to work with here, down the sideline. There's another kicking contest. Not a bad kick though. Force the man to turn around and go and get it. Needs a good chase though. And in the end it comes back up to midway between the 10-metre line and halfway.
Well, who was that hit? Was that Luke that hit that last one from Toulon? Because he went from in the zone 22, just trying to carve off as much as he could. Bonus if it goes out. It was even better because it didn't go out. Bordeaux returns it and he still made, let's say, 40 metres. And it's the Toulon throw, so perfect result.
Bobigny with the line out, looking for Ribbons, who ripped that way and kept it a Toulon ball. Here's Wasea Naikalevu for the first time, and he's got it away to Aymeric Luke, and a real chance here for Toulon as they rip their way into the 22. An advantage as well.
Uh-oh.
And a yellow card is going to be coming. Mignoni just helping the referee out.
Took all his power not to run out there and grab it from the ref and brandish it himself, didn't it?
And unfortunately, Ben Tapuai is going to spend 10 minutes in the bin after all those nice words we were saying about him.
Well, I can see why the yellow card was decided on there, because they were surging forward. Great run from Naikalevu. This was all pre-planned. Look, he's taken his 2 defenders in, got that one arm free, rolled it out there. Wasn't sure Tapuai did too much wrong there. He got himself in position, maybe just didn't release enough for the referee's liking, but just Toulon putting pressure on, so yellow card, logical result.
Bobigny finds his man, and that driving ball's not going anywhere fast. Bobigny has it, plays scrum half, goes up against Diaby and gets past him, rips through him, and now there's only a couple of metres to go until the try line. They've already got one try through the forwards, now they're going to have another go. Turnover ball. So a mistake in possession, a lack of control. And away by Garcia, under a fair amount of pressure.
Well, Bordeaux thought they'd stolen that from the very first phase, and a lot of their players stopped, and when Bobigny finally spun around and came out, I don't think the Toulon players realised that Ben Tamifuna had got in and pilfered that. Did very well, thief in the night. Here's this run from Naikalevu, just giving the ball away to Luke. Beautiful play. Shame he didn't have more support with him. Aymeric Luke.
He needed somebody like an Antoine Dupont on his shoulder.
Such a handful. Naikalevu captaining Fiji to the quarterfinals in the World Cup, of course.
Suspiciously close to being off his feet when he did that, but just about, I guess, got away with it.
They're wide, but they're not the longest of legs, so it may not be obvious if he's not, when he's not fully on his feet.
A bit like Camille Chaz's neck. Fabulous player, though, Ben Tamifuna. Bobigny on the 22, looking for Ribbons and finding his favourite target again. And the Englishman makes progress. Bobigny again. Feeds it into the number 8, Salvatio Tolofua. No advantage, so we're going to come back for a former penalty against Bordeaux Begles.
Merci.
Danny Priso has obviously taken a knock. Here is the infirmary list, as the French would call it. Melvin Jaminet is a significant one on there because he is trying to get back into the French side. There's Baptiste Serrat.
Kicked that last-minute penalty, of course, last week, didn't he, to save Toulon?
Baptiste Serrat with a shoulder injury. Ribbons takes it again. Lobanidze. Oh, this could be it. Up to the line, have they got it? Referee a bit slow to catch up with what Lester Fayenganuku was doing. And it's no surprise that he's going to need the TMO to decide whether that ball has gone down.
And this is going to be a hard one because the rule is you cannot move your body forward. You cannot rabbit in the old language. You can't make an effort to shunt your body forward, but you can place the ball as your one action after the tackle. He may have had 2 or 3 bites at the cherry here at Lester Fayenganuku. He's an absolute specialist at this. He's done this so often at the Crusaders, running off the back of that line out, just popping up on the shoulder, bursting the first tackle, and like I say, he had a couple of bites. It wasn't to move his body forward, but it was just to place the ball, and there might be just enough delay here to deny him the try.
The TMO think he's had 2 or 3 attempts here to reach out. Technically, he's not moving his body for that.
No, correct.
Twice a Super Rugby Pacific champion with Crusaders before coming to France. You can see there, trying to get rid of the arms and legs so that he can get it down on the line.
I think they might give that, and I think it'd help if they do it in normal speed. As soon as you slow it down, having the 2 or 3 pumps at the ball is going to look worse. But I think the speed with which he did it in real time, in real speed, could probably come under the definition of one movement, one action. And it also could be a home crowd decision too.
Could well be. So, Monsieur Praderie, in a full debate with the TMO.
Vérifier si l'essai n'était pas marqué en double mouvement. Donc on voit bien le bras qui fait un double mouvement mais sans gagner d'espace. Donc il est dans un même temps, c'est essai.
Yep. So it's exactly what you've just said, Andrew. He does not move his body. He does move his arms several times, but he's allowed to do that. Try.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair call as well, and I'm trying hard not to be biased from one former Crusader to another, but he didn't. He was very careful not to shunt his body forward, and you know, he was just placing the ball. One thing that is not in question is how good he is at doing this, just looming there, just blind, popping up out of nowhere on the shoulder, and being absolutely devastating when he does so.
So a second top 14 try for Fayenganuku. And it puts Toulon in front for the first time. Madosh Tambwe tries to come up, and it works because Dan Bigger has missed the conversion.
Rugby Club Toulonnais 15, Union Bordeaux.
Got very close to doing a Colby there, didn't he? You can say that now because this is going out to outside of France.
Yes.
I wouldn't be sitting here saying it in French. But yeah, pretty hard to stop Lester Fayenganuku when he gets the timing right, and he inevitably does. It's normally the other guys around, the movement of the line out to win it and get that ball to him that is in question.
So off we go again. Toulon doing their best to get their exit correctly done, which is not something that has been done much so far in this game. This is looking a bit better though, and an attacking exit. However, it's given it away. A knock on by the UBB fly half, Mathieu Garcia. Still a little bit risky there from Toulon.
If the kick had been a little bit shorter now, Fayenganuku, yeah, he straight away the danger that he might be in if he'd followed through with that and taken a player A in the air or B without the ball.
I wouldn't mind betting that that's why the knock-on happened in the first place, because that's exactly what was in the head of the UBB player.
Yep.
Fayenganuku flying in at him.
Is this almost charged down by
Tambwe, yeah.
Yeah. And like you say, it did do enough to be in Dan Bigger's eye line probably and just make him clutch at it a little bit.
He is so quick. But it's a little bit hard, a little bit like Colbert as well. Perhaps you underestimate just how fast they're coming out at you. So scrum for that knock-on. Already in the 29th minute. Decent first half.
Often a good place to attack here, rather than just play for territory. You know that the Bordeaux team here, if you're Toulon, you know that Bordeaux has to cover all the backfield. So they don't have as many defenders up in the front line. And you know, if you've got your full back line there, particularly with a guy like Whainuku, who can come off the blindside wing, probably attack 2 or 3 defenders, and you've got a lot of space there when you've got the likes of Naitha Level as well, Duncan Paiawa.
107 kilos is Whainuku as well. It's the weight of an average hooker, I would say.
Now, pretty angry kilos that can shift quickly as well, so that's the other problem.
I like that. Angry kilos. Angry birds that can flex. Here comes Toulon trying to flex a little bit more. Aymeric Luke brought down, though, well by Deporter. And there's a knock-on as well in there, so Ube Bay, good defence. Turn the ball over. Let's not forget that they're down to 14 men for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, actually, I'd forgotten about that too. That was probably a determinant factor as well. But you see how easily Toulon can make that ground when they have Whainuku just lurking there as well. You know, no defenders can run off quickly when he's there. He's a threat. And what was it? Just a couple of passes, got it wide, and they end up making 30 metres pretty easily.
Unfortunate for Aymeric Luke, that was. He had hold of it after the tackle by Deporter, and he just lost it just as he was starting to get back up again, because he wasn't held, of course, so he could get back up. Half an hour gone. Toulon 15, Bordeaux Begles 10. Ben Tapawai in the bin for the visitors. They've conceded a try whilst he's been off the field.
And they'll miss him too. He's been good carrying straight tonight as well.
Koulibaly feeds. Big push here coming from Toulon. However, Bordeaux Begles resist and they break out the back with Tavita Tatafu. Good run by the number 8. Obadi feeds it into the second row forward, Alexandre Ricard. Another new man in Bordeaux this time, coming in from lower division Colomiers. Big punch again by Tavita Tatafu. Obadi spreads it out wide. Now the backs take over. Madosh Tambwe. There was a forward pass, though, according to the referee. Oh, Madosh Tambwe there, getting a little bit upset with Wasser Naekalevu. And then realising perhaps that's not the best thing to do.
Well, this is really all Bordeaux needed and wanted from that. This is Tatafu coming up. Look at the eyes light up when he sees 10 bigger. Any number 8 who sees a 10 in front, unless it was perhaps Johnny Wilkinson, who is a loved figure, of course, still in Toulon, but normally a number 8 sees a 10 in front. They absolutely are overjoyed.
A little bit dangerous, though, with the way that he shoved his hand into his throat. It's not just defensive players that can be caught for dangerous play. This was Tambwe, who thought he might be able to get away, but the whistle had already gone.
Got the penalty here, though. They can soak up the time, have the shot, so they've got a minute. It's another minute/minute and a half by the time they've all got back into position. The tea's arrived, eaten out of Ben Tapawai's 10 minutes. Toulon far from being out of the woods as well. I mean, this comes back to just a penalty in it.
Mateo Garcia then. Good kick, and it's 15-12, and it's a 3-point game, as Andrew Mertens just said. Yannick Brou will be pretty happy with that. They have conceded a try, but it wasn't converted. They've only lost 2 points on the sin bidding so far. I think they would have taken that. Dan Bigger gets us back underway again then. Just over 7 minutes to go until the break. Good catch this time by Antoine Miguel, 29-year-old back row forward. And who has over a century of appearances for Agen before he moved to Toulouse and then to Bordeaux Begles last season. Back he comes the other way with Tolafua, the Toulon number 8. French international, but only a couple of appearances. Back in the days when they were being handed out quite regularly, actually. Especially on that trip to Australia. Madoche Tamboué's missed that, and away comes Gaël Drian, the right wing for Toulon. Diaby trying to come through, but good control from Toulon. And Bordeaux Begles have steadied it again. Lobanitsa tries the missed pass. Little kick over the top from Drian, and a very good mark called by Madoche Tamboué. Good in attack and good decision-making in defence.
Rolling the dice a little bit, isn't he, Tamboué? He's sniffing out those intercept opportunities. It's like he's got the speed to turn around and get back and cover if he misses them, because he did miss one there and then came looking for another. It's been Tamboué.
About to come back on again.
Yes. Yeah, well, they'll be pretty happy with that, Bordeaux. I think that the 10 minutes they've lasted without him.
Yeah, to be only 2 points behind, I think they would have been happy with that. They were 5 points in. It was level, wasn't it, when they went off? So they've kind of got away with it.
And then psychologically, the effect that this can have sometimes on a team like Toulon, they realise they've missed an opportunity, and sometimes like this, as we see Tamboué looking for that intercept, it makes you try a little bit too hard to score points, and your focus becomes on the points rather than the process to get there. Even this going for the line out where they could have the 3 points, extend the lead.
Ben Tamifuna has come off and has been replaced by Zachary Afane, just 19 years old. Astonishing. 19 years old, 1m91, 127 kilos, 6'3" in old money, by the way. Well taken by Jules Coulon, the open side flanker. It's Danny Priso, by the looks of it, who's got the ball. Pass to him from Cornel de Prez, the South African-born Scotland international. Here comes Lobanitsa, Tolafua. Tolafua trying to break away. Good tackle, though, by Tapaway. He gets involved straight away after coming back off the sin bin. Lobanitsa, a little bit rushed. Lots of tackling coming in here, but Teddy Bobigny trying to bring it forward for the home side. Lobanitsa out to Beka Gigashvili. The Georgian prop breaks one tackle. Picked up by Danny Priso. Referee happy that was not a knock-on. Says it was with the foot. Lobanitsa down to Brian Alanoese. The giant lock forward from Samoa. Referee is blown. Well, it was all very frenetic, but Toulon didn't really make an awful lot of headway.
Good word for it, Angus. They tried to be urgent too long, and I wonder if that's just that scoreboard pressure they've now inflicted on themselves, feeling like they've missed a trick, having had Tapaway off the field, and yeah, just getting a little bit frenetic, as you said, and not accurate.
Why Ben Tamifuna came off. He's blinking there as if he's had a blow to his head, but he's not gone for an HIA. Toulon did get a penalty out of that, so they have managed to go for the corner, and they do have this line out on the 5-metre line.
Tamifuna will be back. I think they'll probably give him 15 at the end.
And it's been stolen against the head. Paul Abadi forced to put the ball down. Did he get it down, though? That's the thing. It's held up, so it will be a 5-metre scrum, surely, won't it, if he didn't manage to... the referee says he took it into his own in-goal area. Well, Bordeaux Begles did well to start with, but then made a bit of a mess of it.
Yeah, that was easy to say in hindsight, but that's really a thank you very much not from Abadi, who got given some absolute rubbish there by his forwards. Forwards always get the blame for it, we know that anyway, but really there you don't want to be passing back to your halfback close to the defensive players in his own goal line, in his own in-goal, sorry, with minimal time to actually clear the ball.
Brew will be joined by the rest of his backroom staff in a moment. 3 minutes to go until the break. It's a scrum to Toulon. Vasil Lobanitsa feeds it in, and round goes Tolofua. Power to the line now. Can he get it down? Surely he's got that down. Referee's on the wrong side of the ruck. Toulon not claiming it. So they're just recycling. Go the other way once more. An advantage here called. There's a free hit. Becker Gigashvili going for his second try. Has he got that down? No would appear to be the answer. So here they come again. They're over. The referee's there. It's held up. Pierre Mioni cannot believe it. There was a couple of times there where it looked as though they might have got the whitewash.
Well, I think they might have, but I think they were smart enough to realise they might not be awarded it. It might have been too opaque, and that it was better to take another phase and do it for sure. But they really got close there. That last one looked... I mean, we didn't have a view of the ball, obviously, but it's kind of like, how could he not have scored? Here's this first run from Tolofua, which was all but. In fact, he got the ball down right next to the line. There's he may well have got that touching the line there, but he knew no one was going to see.
Well, I think the TMO has actually said here that he thinks that to me looks very, very close to being on the line. For me, as it disappears, that's when it looks like it probably touched. Home fans are making their views known. They will obviously think it's a try. I think, though, they're going to let this go. And it's going to be a scrum because they were playing on a penalty. It's not often that you see the advantage played out by the forwards. So they're taking the scrum.
Well, this would be a real bonus for Toulon. They couldn't win their own line out. Bordeaux made a hash of the clearance. So going in at 15-13 versus going in at 22-13 is a huge difference psychologically.
Tolofua breaks off again, and this time he's brought down by the excellent Ben Tapoai, and this time they're over. No doubt about that time. Well, Savasio Tolofua was always going to try and get that try. He had 3 attempts to get there, and he's finally managed to get the ball down.
Yeah, 2 big bites at the cherry here from Tolofua, and that's enough to consume the entire cherry. There it is, 5-pointer. Really accurate. Wasn't well. He was held as long as he needed to let the ball go. Surges forward again. Nobody was going to stop him. It was fairly obvious there.
And one of the greats of French rugby appreciating that.
I'm sure Mathieu Bastereau would have probably backed himself to do the same thing, actually, if he was coming off the back of the scrum.
Undoubtedly. Man, he was just as at home on the back line as he was amongst the backs. Of course, he was amongst the backs when he was in younger days. So then, Dan Biggar with another chance here. He's just waiting, I think, for it to go past the 40 minutes before he takes this. And he gets it. And, well, a very good half in the end for Toulon. After a bit of a nightmare start off, they conceded a try to Madosh Tambwe after 30 seconds. But they have come back with tries from have their foot on the accelerator, on the steering wheel, directing their sides around the park. So then, both sides back out on the pitch. Toulon have the advantage after the first 40 minutes. Bordeaux Begles, though, will be looking for a different direction because 7 of those points came from a big mistake by Toulon. So it's not really from build-up play from Bordeaux Begles. That's what they need to sort out. Off we go then. Looks like Setariki Tuasuvu has come on. So then off we go then. Tuasuvu has indeed come on for Gaël Drian, the right wing who has gone off at half-time. Big high ball that's well taken. Bordeaux Begles setting up a platform. Paul Abadi feeds it out into the giant of the 19-year-old, that is Zachary Afane. Danny Priso. It's a little high for a second there. A kick over by Mateo Garcia. And the mark called by Bigger. It's all the way back in round 5 that he hurt his back, converting a Charles Olivon try. Of course, Olivon's away with France. He was in the side that lost against Ireland. Another high ball, well taken again by Bigger, but he's caught by Gazzotti, who looks like he's another man who's come on at half-time. Lobanidze. Beka Giashvili had to bend his knees to take that one. Always be some control from the Georgian international, and we haven't seen many caterpillars off the back of rucks in this game, and that one didn't involve a kick in the end. Now the kick comes over from Paua. Mados Tambwe leaves it. Thought about the quick line out, but in the end he'll leave it to the big boys to sort this one out.
Did pretty well here, Dan Biggett. Caught tackler at the exact same time as he got the ball, but managed to control it and get going forward and get the ball back to Toulon. That might have been interesting to have stayed in a little bit. Whainga Anuku wasn't out there, but you see there Nayatalevu bearing down as well.
Jefferson Poirot looks like he's struggling with his shoulder, and not very kind for the director to show all the others who are injured at the moment. Some big hitters there, Falatea, Kaulashvili, Sadi, Guido Petty also out, Coleman.
Yeah, those two, that takes a big bit out of your line out, doesn't it? Even though you've still got Kane Douglas there, all sorts of internationals there in the second row.
Well, there you go, he went the shoulder straight into Beka Giashvili's thigh and knee. Beka Giashvili didn't give at all. We're going to start again. Clément Menadier with the line out. Jefferson Poirot has had to go off and being replaced by Hugo Boniface at the loose head prop position. Oh, well, that was beautifully done by Ben Tapaway, because he was really hung out to dry with that pass. However, Toulon have it. Forward comes Setariki Tuasuvu. The Fijian winger, Giashvili, Bigger. Paua, one of the real creators of this Toulon side. Bigger with a little kick through. A little bit too far, perhaps. Paula Baddy comes back and gets rid of it quickly before the arrival of some big men in red and black.
Still putting the pressure on Toulon and in the right area of the ground. Paioa straightening up there and looking dangerous. If he can start getting the odd player running off him as well. Take some time to just get that confidence up as well, particularly in a game like this, which has been a bit stop-start, a few mistakes. Dan Bigger just keeping Toulon on the front foot.
Teddy Bobigny then, just outside the 22. Another good throw into the arms of David Ribbons. Quick ball. Forward by Lester Fainganuku. However, he's lost the ball. And Unon Bordeaux Begles turn it over. And the traditional escape, you don't so often see that these days. Out of the back of the ruck, pass back to the fly half. You see in France particularly an awful lot of kicks from the scrum half rather than the fly half. Abadi running the ball here determinedly. Garcia, though, comes back the other way. Thinks he can see some space, but, well, that space wasn't really there. At least it wasn't where he kicked it. Just outside the 22. That's not a bad kick. Looking for the 50-22, but didn't quite have enough on it. Took that back inside his 22, so couldn't find touch. Mados Tambwe comes forward again. Looks to get away from the tackler, but Paua holds on to him. And then there's a penalty, holding on. Great work from Toulon.
I think it might have been Lester Whainga Anuku who got in there and clamped onto the ball. He sort of had a bit of a roving commission. I was trying to work out when the ball came back to the left-hand side where he was. He'd played halfback over the other side of the field in one of the phases earlier on, so he really has been given a roving commission to get out and look for opportunities. He got that ball before, lost it in the tackle. I think he might have copped the tackler at the same time as he got the pass, and it got ripped out. You don't see that very often.
So Dan Bigger finds just outside the 22. This was that great tackle by the inside centre. There's 2 balls on the pitch at the moment. So Teddy Bomigny will have to wait. Never represented France, he's just represented the French Barbarians in his career so far. Very hard to get into the hooker position in the French national side. Wassea tries to go through the middle of 2 Union Bordeaux Begles defenders, but they catch hold of him. Back the other way, Bigger. Here comes Fayanganuku again. Bobigny tried a little sidestep, didn't quite work out. Lobanidze back out to Luke. Gigashvili, head down, tries to go across the 22. Lobanidze again, out to Aymeric Luke. Back inside once more. Little bit of variety here from Toulon, but so far the defence are folding across nicely and closing all the holes. Alan Oese offloads inside the 22 now. 5 minutes, 6 minutes into the second half. Lobanidze tries to go round and find the edge, but he can't find the edge of his opposite number. Good counter-rucking here and turnover ball again from Union Bordeaux Begles. Some great determined defence from both. Looks as though there's a skull cap somewhere on the floor here. Someone's not wearing one anymore. Romain Bourros has it, but look at the way Toulon are coming at them. Big hit on Tavita Tatafu. Paul Abadi catches up with play. Didn't quite get the bounce he was looking for. Cornel de Prez, I think it's him that's lost a head guard. Aymeric Luke once more. Gigashvili sets up the ruck. Out by Bigger. Power. Great hands as usual from him. In it comes to the left wing again. Lester Fayanganuku. He's lost the ball again. He's done that a few times in the game. He's always a danger, but he's managed to cough up possession 2 or 3 times.
Maybe indicating a little bit of slipperiness on the ball now, whether it's sweat or a bit of dew, but he's very dangerous when he gets that arm free, Lester Fayanganuku, and he can get that reverse pass out. We'll see it here, and big David Ribbons making the effort to get round the outside. Good on the second rower. And unfortunately for him, the back makes the mistake. He doesn't get the chance, but he's a handful. Fayanganuku playing in the right end of the field at the moment, Toulon, so Bordeaux will be happy to get the chance to get down into the Toulon half.
All that's loose. Diaby has rescued that for Bordeaux Begles. Here's Tapoy. There's no advantage, and the penalty goes against David Ribbons.
Won't translate that. Or leave it in the same language either.
Yannick Bru's side here struggling to get going in the second half. Not entirely sure what David Ribbons did wrong there, to be honest with you.
He didn't see it from that angle. He may have jumped across a little bit, which means he takes out Ricard in the air. Maybe not deliberate, but
he didn't seem too happy with the decision, that's for sure.
They never do, I don't think.
No.
Backs abide by it and just get on with the game. Forwards tend to have a bit of a whinge.
Tough one this from Mateo Garcia, a little bit further out. Just decided to take the points and try and get something going.
This would get them back within a converted try. 7-pointer would take them ahead, so it is still quite an important kick.
Hits it hard. He's got to put his foot right the way through this, and unfortunately, when you hit it harder, you lose the accuracy, and it's just gone wide.
I suspect it went pretty close to going straight over the top of that upright, the near upright, as he looked at it. It's hard before. I thought he'd missed one of the ones in the first half, but he'd hit it so well that it had gone through before it looked like it had gone to the side.
Here's Marco Gazzotti, 19-year-old back row forward, teammate of Nicolas Duporter, winner of the under-20 world title in the summer. Beat Ireland in the final.
that was 3 in a row for them. That's right.
Yep.
How they're looking this year.
A lot of talent coming through in France. Jefferson Poirot has gone off again, or rather he's come on again, and has got back to his loose head position.
Might be a bit lucky there, Tuithuvu, because something like that is normally an all or nothing. It's normally penalty and yellow card, or it's nothing. So, not that I'm trying to incite the yellow card, but might have dodged one.
Changing the back row with Pierre Bocheton coming on, the 22-year-old, ex-France under-20 international.
He wasn't really in a position, that's what they will have said straight away, he wasn't in a position to realistically get that ball. So going up in the air and taking down the player who was in the air as well, penalty immediately. Wasn't dangerous, I guess, which not a high level of danger.
I'm surprised that there may not have been more in there, maybe because he did actually try and have a care of attention of bringing down the man in the air, but that's the only thing I think that could have saved him from the 10-minute sit-down. His tap away. Trying to go past Tolafua. Back into the path of Afane. Bordeaux Begles close to the Toulon try line as they have been in a while. Inside the 22, Diaby looking for support. Afane is the next man behind him. They've decided not to bother with the scrum half at the moment. No advantage.
They looked at that again. Tatafu went backwards at a rate of knots there, which is reasonably unusual. So that Tolafua carry, going to have to be careful about that. May have lifted the arm again.
Beka Gigashvili was the man penalised for pulling down the maul. So now it's Unon Bordeaux Begles' turn to go for the corner, and they'll have a line out on the 5-metre line.
Sort of went in from the side there at the back, and plus he fell down and a little bit unlucky, his legs brought it all down.
Marco Gazzotti getting ready to come on. Meanwhile, the forwards are driving for Unon Bordeaux Begles. We've seen great success for Toulon in the game from these sorts of position. Now Bordeaux Begles, they're coming forward, even the backs are coming in. Down they go, try given. And anything Toulon can do, Bordeaux Begles can answer. The slow, inevitable creep forward and then slump to the ground, and Bordeaux Begles right back in the game. Romain Laterade with the score. He's only just come on.
They really are back in the game, Bordeaux. Seemingly out of nowhere, just constructed a really precise, clean maul, and over they went. Looked a little bit effortless at the end. They had to wheel around a little bit to the right, but took it all in their stride. No way they were stopping that too long. First real incursion into Toulon territory for the half, and like you say, probably since Tumbwe scored that try after 30 seconds, and they come up with points, so very encouraging for Bordeaux.
Garcia with the chance then to bring it back to a 2-point game. Did it well, that's through. And it is 22 points to 20. And we are heading towards the grandstand finale. 2 changes coming up. Tani Vili on the right-hand side. 23-year-old centre. Marco Gazzotti, the 19-year-old back row forward, is going to come on. Meanwhile, Christopher Tolafua has come on, and he looks very happy to be there. He's come in as hooker, replacing Teddy Bobigny. I think there are more substitutions coming.
Both captains are off the field too, so the armbands have switched.
Amadou Diaby is the man who's going to concede his place to the teenage back row forward Gazzotti. Oh, knocked on. Well, they just cannot get these restarts going on either side.
Bordeaux certainly. A couple of good takes actually from Coulon on the other side. He really had to reach over himself with good lifters as well, but Bordeaux have not quite been the same at all, and Arthur Levu coughing up the chance as well to make the most of that opportunity. They get a second attempt at it now though, Toulon, with a scrum right in attacking territory.
So then Gazzotti straight into action in the scrum. Just 2 points in it then. Yannick Brou looking a little bit exasperated as he talks with Avsenti Gugadze, the Georgian forwards coach.
Leicester Fainga Anuku lurking right on the sideline, this near sideline, just to try and stretch the defence across and be an option, of course, if Dan Bigger decides he can kick past it straight across. It's tempting.
In it goes then from Lobanidze. Tolofua keeps it in. He's lost control of it though. Again, it's messy, but it's a penalty. Coming in from the side, says the referee.
It's a shame. They got good hook ball there at the start too long. It would have been interesting, well, from a back's perspective, to see it go out straight away, but as you said, it ended up getting very Finn Russell.
Mignoni with a look of thunder. His side leading by just 2 points. That 9-point lead has evaporated somewhat. So then it's all gone a bit quiet here inside the stadium as we get ready for Dan Bigger to try to extend the Toulon lead again. This would settle the nerves a little bit. Oh, he's really got that wrong. Boy, oh boy, that's a big miss. Well, what happened there?
Not sure if there's a little bit of wind, maybe more than it looks in the stadium. Not trying to make excuses for Dan Bigger, but one of the fullbacks mentioned that, I think, at half-time as well, that maybe there was some errors partly because of that.
So then underway again. Dan Bigger launches it into the Toulon night sky, and it's picked up by the back row forward, Cornel Dupré. Forward comes Danny Priso, accompanied by Birka Gigashvili. And it's quite an articulated lorry to get hit by. Over to the other side, and Satariki Tuasuvu chasing on. A little bit messy again from Bordeaux Begles. They're hanging on here, and Toulon piling through, looking for the turnover ball. Great piece of rucking. David Ribbons has it at the back. Danny Priso joins. Forward comes the second row forward. A metre out. Lobanidze. Dan Bigger. Far side. Pawara wants it, and it drops down. Oh, Tolifu has missed it. Faiganuku. Has he got it down? Well, the try has been given. I would be very interested to see the replay of the grounding.
He doesn't look too overjoyed, does he, Fainga Anuku? But it may be a reflection of the fact he's just had to go side to side. When that kick first came across from Bigger, and here's the confusion amongst all the Bordeaux players, and good driving over the top from Toulon, but when that kick first came out, I did wonder if Fainga Anuku was on the end of it, and he wasn't. He got across there to be the third player to have an attempt at it. Look, he's just there outside. He's trudging across, getting there, thinking he's no chance. Two of them missed it. Big Leicester picks it up and finally gets across right in the corner.
Well, if it's given, then Faiganuku will get his second try of the game. I think he's got that down, hasn't he?
Certainly
on the absolute limit of control, but he's got it. And that's better from Dan Bigger as well. And a little bit of calm restored here to the Stade Mayol as Toulon extend their lead out to 29 points to 20, and they are 9 points in front once more.
There's calm from the result, but it wasn't calm execution at all. Fainga Anuku getting in and cleaning up. Payaua actually did pretty well because he had a disadvantage. He was outside the Bordeaux defenders, so he really had to attack that ball, and he did. which cause it to bobble to ground.
And Priso comes off, change at loose head prop for Pierre Mignoni's men. Means that Bruce DeVaux has come on as the usual suspect that comes on to replace the largely #1 pick.
L'essai était valable puisque pour nous il aplatit. Tu veux
And what's the
vérifier
TMO looking at?
L'essai est bien valable, voir si s'il aplatit bien le ballon.
Voilà, je veux savoir s'il échappe pas le ballon en aplatit ça, oui.
Are they going back to see whether or not he grounded it? Well, I did say.
I think they're saying in scoring he knocked it on.
Here we go now, let's see here. Here it comes. Madosh Tambwe comes through and tries to dislodge it. Downward pressure. Oh, just about, I think.
Well, I think there's connection all the way through.
Yeah.
Isn't that how they judge it now?
Yeah, there's downward pressure. And of course, the new rule is now that even after the conversion has been hit, they can still go back and check it.
Well, they can't be just reviewing it. I think they've decided he hasn't scored, which is why they're walking back, right?
Well, if he hasn't scored, then it's a great intervention by Madosh Tambwe.
He didn't look delighted, did he? There'll be a question mark there as to whether there was gap between the arm and the ball.
The officials don't seem too sure at the moment. I'm not surprised. It's very much on the limit.
There he's claiming it.
Moi, je suis d'accord avec toi. Il n'y a pas de séparation. L'essai va là, mais je préférais le nettoyer.
Okay.
So they are going to stick with the decision.
There wasn't a disconnect between arm and ball.
Which is true, which is what you said. But it was very close to happening.
You know what? I don't think that would be given 10 times out of 10. I think there'd be a couple of TMOs would get in and say, I saw a little bit of a gap.
However, there is a bit of a gap now. It's a 9-point gap between these two sides then, with Toulon leading by 29 points to 20 and with around about 12 minutes to go.
That's with our cute little
2
segues.
minutes to go, excuse me. Let's not finish the game too early. Confirmation of DeVaux coming on for Priso at loose head prop. It's an interesting game, this one. Not the usual reason for being interesting, but there's an awful lot of unusual things going on. Facundo Issa has come on with Savasio Tolofua having gone off.
Looks like it's more interesting for us than in the crowd. Phones are out, yawns are going. Sunday night's been a long weekend.
Facundo Issa was one of those who has been treated this season, or this week, but has come through it. Kane Douglas off. On comes Pete Samu. The back row forward coming on for a second row forward.
17 avance et va vers le sol. 17 rouge.
This will be another 3 for Bordeaux, surely, to get back to that 6-point gap, which leaves them within striking distance. So the game far from over, as you say, Angus. A quarter of it still remaining.
And another penalty. So every time that Toulon managed to put their foot in front, they're allowing Bordeaux Begles to come back. Pretty straight, this. And as a result, Garcia has hit it straight, and it is 29 points to 23, which means that one try and a conversion can win it for Bordeaux Begles from here. Pierre Mignoni knows that.
Not sure what the ruling was there. Bentame Funa lost his footing, so whatever Toulon was doing was presumably on this side, because that's where the referee was. We thought we'd see him back, didn't we, for a significant period at the end, which is why he went off early in the first half, relatively early.
Yes. Ubati comes forward and is hit by DeVaux. Ubadi back to Garcia. He looks long, doesn't look for touch though. Just a kick for territory. The kicking battle commences. Again, though, is a little short. And it's taken by Bordeaux Begles. Garcia playing scrum half. Here is the actual scrum half, Abadi. Back the other way from Marco Gazzotti. Every time that Bordeaux Begles go into a ruck, you can see the power coming at them from Toulon. Abadi once more, the half-backs combining. Gazzotti trying to go past Wasea and Ribbons. Second row forward gets him though the second attempt. Abadi again, Tanivili. Tanivili getting those legs going. He's so hard to bring down once he starts that high kicking. Tamefuna, Buros. Building again, Manadier. De Porter. He's brought down by Gigashvili. Buros, fullback, spreads it out wide. Tamefuna, that's forward. Referee says he knows. Don't think that was in response to me. Back the other way it comes. The advantage will be over soon on that knock-on. I think that's what he's just said. Garcia, Madosh Tambwe, and he gets the ball in open play. You watch out. Decided to offload it that time. Another chance here for the winger. Brought down by a big challenge from Facundo Issa. Nice, Tanivili. Tanivili away again from the challenge by Donglu. And he's dropped it, knocked it on. And a promising piece of play from the hosts ends in a rather disappointing way.
Yeah, and thanks to a very good tackle there at the back from Dan Bigger, last line of defence there, and he did enough there. They didn't really need to probably do so many decoy runners there, Bordeaux, but anyway, they managed to get some space on the outside. There's Bigger, makes a physical enough hit for the ball to be unable to be controlled in the pass. Got themselves out of trouble a little bit. A good spot tackle as well from Tuithuvu earlier on Tamefuna. You don't see that very often. Ben Tamefuna stopped in his tracks.
He's a 93-kilo fly half, is Dan Bigger, so he's not your average weight for a number 10. 79 kilos is the fly half on the other side. So, scrum. Time off at the moment. Paul Abadi has been replaced at scrum half. With Theo Nanette, the experienced half-back coming on to replace him with 17 minutes to go. Lobaninzlo still on there. And, Bordeaux Begles have been penalised. The loose head prop who has been pinged.
Boring,
well, basically turning in, yeah, turning his shoulder and then driving inwards.
From the loose head side from Bordeaux, it really looked like Bordeaux had got a bit of dominance there in that scrum. Looked like they had Toulon under real pressure. Toulon maybe having eased off the throttle. They won the hook. Well, hook, I say very lightly. But then they really got under pressure there, possibly because, as you see there, who was it? Boniface, who came in, angling in from the left. As Dan Bigger does leave the field now after his potentially try-saving tackle just now.
Yeah, Enzo Hervé coming on, a change at tight head prop as well, with Emmerich Setiano coming on for Beka Gigashvili. Christopher Tolofua with his first line out. And once again, David Ribbons is the favourite target. Picked up by Facundo Issa. The Argentine replacement back row forward. Nicely done by Priso. Forward again by Christopher Tolofua. Power, long ball forward, looking for Fayaninga. However, Madosh Tambwe has picked up that hot potato. And it's a decent kick as well. All of a sudden, Toulon are heading back towards their own line. There's just a little bit too much on that. It's a little unfortunate for Bordeaux Begles, but at least it hasn't gone dead. Otherwise, they would have come all the way back to where he kicked it.
Did well to cover all that ground some way there as well. Control the ball, turn around on a penny and kick that ball down deep. Bit of a shovel out there from Duncan Payawa. Could see what he was trying to do for Toulon. Get the ball out to Fainga Anuku, who had some space. Execution left a bit to be desired.
So the goal line dropout, which effectively gives possession back to the opposition. And forward comes Tavita Tatafu. Nanette gets his first real touch at the back of a ruck. Bordeaux Begles at the moment going backwards. Forward comes Tani Vili though, trying to do something about that. Ben Tamefuna's hit by a couple of big men in red and recycles. Nanette once more. Tani Vili decides to kick and he's going to find the corner. Not a bad effort. And, well, it will still be a ball to Toulon. You were talking about playing in the right areas, and that's what they're doing.
That's right. Takes the ball straight, does Tani Vili. Right moments, but then also, as you say, saw that space in behind. It was the run from Big Tatafu. Pete Samu also been on the field for a little while for Bordeaux, and he could be a really crucial player at the end with some fatigue out there as well. Skillful player, former Wallaby and former Crusader and Brumby too.
Well taken by Toulon as they start the long drive to try and get up the other end of the pitch. Bruce DeVoe having a bit of an arm wrestle with Ben Tamefuno, who seems to find the funny side of that. It's a very slow movement, but they are moving, our Toulon. In the end, it comes out Lobanitsa high into the night sky. Tambwe underneath it, and beautifully taken by the right wing. So a chance here to come forward. Oh, this is through. Wonderful stuff. And Roman Burros is going to score a try out of almost nothing. And Bordeaux Begles are a point behind Toulon, and the Stade Moyol goes absolutely silent.
Fantastic piece of play from Bordeaux. They haven't really set the ground alight with this sort of play tonight, but perhaps just that fatigue I mentioned before coming into play. The kick went in. Tambwe did well to control this and get himself into some space, feed it on out. And this was a great run as well. Samu looming up behind, but he did so well to straighten up and put Burros over.
Well, it was all set up by a beautiful catch by Madosh Tambwe.
He had one great run in the first half, did Mateo Garcia as well. But here he's done superbly. When he pulled that left foot step out, it almost looked like he was going to go for the corner himself, but he'd done enough to straighten, commit the defender, and the support was there on his left. An accurate pass and sitting right in front of the post, barring an absolute disaster. They go 1 point up here, Bordeaux.
So then this to put Bordeaux Begles in front, which he does. And the change of lead happens again. Madosh Tambwe here with a magnificent catch out of the air. And then all of a sudden there was about 5 seconds before they were crossing the try line.
Well, often a team will see a ball come down like that out of the sky and, you know, it gets taken, but there's normally a ruck straight away because there's pressure on. But Tambwe managed to get himself in space, find his support, and Toulon hadn't had a chance to get their defensive line reconstructed, so away went Bordeaux.
So Enzo Hervé gets us underway, and all of a sudden Toulon have got to come from behind with 12 minutes to go. Nip and tuck here at the Stade Moyol. Well, this game doing its best to keep the interest. It really is. 4 tries to Toulon, 3 to Bordeaux Begles, and yet they're in front.
Toulon was in this position last week, of course, against La Rochelle and managed to come through, so I don't think they'll be too stressed. They won't want to leave it too much longer, but they know they can do it. And
it's almost like rewind and replay, isn't it?
Well, they've been down their own end just recently to give away points. Now they're back in the right part of the field.
Change of scrum half as Lobanitsa has been replaced by Jules Donglo. Here he is with his mop of blonde hair. Paoa trying to get through Pete Samu. So then, who can find their way through in this latter part? Oh, back to the drop goal attempt here from Enzo Hervé.
22.
And he's not made it.
Long way out. Not a bad thought, maybe for 15 or 20 metres further up the field. Not quite desperation. It does smack of wanting to have a go maybe a little bit early before it's been set up. Then again, Bordeaux defence wasn't ready to go. They weren't putting pressure on, and we know the French can drop kick.
Camille Lopez of Bayonne is the great exponent of the drop goal in this season's top 14.
Charge down.
And then a knock on, I think, in there somewhere.
Well, that's a bonus for Toulon. They put pressure on. Bordeaux 22 dropout. A bit inexplicable, really, for someone doing a dropout to get that charge down. You can take as much space as you need. There's a bonus for Bordeaux to be able to kick from the 22 and maybe get right back down to that Toulon half, but they've blown it.
10 minutes to go, and Toulon have an attacking scrum. Feel the tension building minute by minute. It really is a very similar game to last week. I mean, Toulon were inhibited by mistakes, errors, and still managed to get over the line. And, well, they've got to remember that feeling here as Kane Douglas, I think, is he coming off or coming on? I think he's coming off again. Douglas is coming on again, and Ricard has gone off.
Tight between these two teams in the first round too, Angus, wasn't it? 22-17, Bordeaux prevailed at home. This is the first round of the return matches, of course. So always tight between these two teams.
Push by Toulon. Good push. So good that Donglo decided to leave it in there for a moment, tried to get the penalty. Hervé, Wasseya has gone forward. Wasn't a terrifically good ball to him, to be quite honest with you, the Fijian national captain.
Sous la pression, la première ligne qui se relève. Ouais, toute la première ligne.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of a difference between having a bigger there at 10, where, you know, they're used to playing international kind of, I guess, quality with the passes out in front, versus French maybe sit back a little bit, particularly, you know, not taking anything away from their championships they've won with the French, but they do tend to sit back a little bit and throw the pass more at the person.
Nevertheless, there was a penalty in there given by the referee, so points on the table here for Enzo Hervé. Scored 109 points so far this season in all competitions, Hervé. And he's going to add another 3 to that list. And more importantly, put Toulon back in front.
Possibly the three most important points of his 122 haul now for Hervé. This game has seen some swings though, and it's turned on little moments, little knock-ons, teams putting themselves under pressure.
So then 32 points to 30, 7.5 minutes to go. Bordeaux Begles now on the back foot. Big skyward hit. Enzo Hervé, though, manages to take it just outside the 22, so decides to run it. That looked forward, though.
Well, a shame there. He got himself a little bit in between. Hervé, he wanted to pass the ball early. Then he wanted to run with it, and in the end, he got in between running and passing and probably passed it at the worst possible moment. There are only 2 defenders there, and I think he had 3 or 4 attackers in tow. Easy to say in hindsight with a nice view of the ground as well, but as soon as that defender had sort of half committed there, it should have gone.
He just tried to bite an extra couple of meters, and all of a sudden, the tackle came in, and there was no escape route. I think he was trying to think, oh, well, I'll take the tackle, do the offload, and then didn't manage to do the offload.
It was for for Bordeaux did pretty well as well. What you want to do as a defender in that situation is make the attacker make the decision. Don't make it easy for the attacker. Don't give him the decision. So Boers kept himself, took a sort of a bob each way. Could have gone out, and in the end, when Hervé had overcommitted, he went in and made the tackle and forced the error.
Early engagement by the front row for Toulon, and results in a free kick for Union Bordeaux Begles. Pierre Mignoni wanting to ensure that Toulon remain unbeaten at home this season in top 14. Union Bordeaux Begles lost for the first time this season in their last home game against Stade Francais. Pierre Mignoni won't want the same thing to happen to Toulon this time. Big push from Toulon again, through Bentamifuna, and the penalty given to the house. And the former scrum half, Mignoni, very happy with what his current generation of forwards have just done.
Well, I don't think we'll get a slow motion replay of the referee, but it looked for all money like he was about to put his right arm up with a penalty for Bordeaux. Toulon might have been as surprised as anyone when that left arm went up.
C'est la troisième faute en mêlée consécutive. Là-bas le gaucher, ici la première ligne qui se relève.
A yellow card
et
coming.
ici c'est pareil, c'est le droitier qui se relève. D'accord? Donc disciplinez-vous dans ce secteur. Si vous prenez
No, but he's told the captain to have a word with Bentamifuna. Not because it was necessarily bad what he did, but he said it's a series of transgressions that's happened. And just a little warning there that his patience is beginning to wear a bit thin.
Bentamifuna was holding strong there while all around him failed. Couldn't help but get forced up, but he really planted his...
That was a really good kick. Almost up to the 5-metre line. Tambwe couldn't keep that one in. Well, Enzo Hervé has made up for that little mistake earlier. That's a monster kick. And with such accuracy as well, and all of a sudden, a massive attacking possibility here for Toulon. Christopher Tolefua, again David Ribbons, quickly done. Donglo, here comes Fanganuku. Donglo out once more. Rummaging over the 5-metre line. Dupré, little bit loose. Picked up though by Hervé. They've lost a little bit of ground though on that, and they've lost the ball. Huberti. However, they might come out smelling of roses again because it's gone out.
Toulon tried the same move from the line out that got them a try in the first half through Fanganuku, and why not? It's funny how in rugby, when you're calling moves, sometimes you feel the pressure to go through your entire repertoire just to tick the boxes of all the different moves. But if something works, keep doing it till it doesn't. On this occasion, Fanganuku ran into the pretty strong and solid form of Tatafu and got no further. But they got themselves into a bit of trouble too long after that when they started just shoveling the ball wide, maybe a little bit eager to score too quickly.
So then, line out, Christopher Tolefua. 3.5 minutes to go. Toulon leading by just 2 points, but they've lost the ball there. Union Bordeaux Begles with a massive steal at the line out. Tambwe breaks back inside again. Oh, he's so hard to bring down. Tani Vili. Oh, this is wonderful. Duporter breaking away. Duporter is going to get there. Oh, my word, what a try. Union Bordeaux Begles from one end to the other. And it's their star man on the other side who's done it. Tambwe in the first half, Duporter in the second, and have they stolen it right at the end?
Well, there's an unbelievable try from Bordeaux coming from Toulon possession. They coughed it up. Nothing on here. There was nothing organised. They just had numbers who were lined up in defence. Nathalevu did his best to get across, but it was Tambwe who caused the initial thrust and then just keeping the ball alive. Duporter had to change direction a couple of times. I don't think anyone thought he was likely to go all the way, but the speed, the long stride. Once he got clear of that first tackle, he just stretched out and away he went. What an unbelievable effort from the Bordelais. Just the end of it there, the last change of direction off that right foot. Pierre Mignoni, pretty disgusted with what he's seen. 90-metre try from Bordeaux.
He's been fantastic, Tambwe, this evening. Deportes' 4th try of the top 14 season. And Union Bordeaux Begles look like they're going to claim another away win. Mathieu Garcia looking to make it a 5-point game.
He knows how important this is. If he misses it, a penalty gives a draw to Toulon.
Oh, he's hit that well. Lovely kick. 32 points to 37 to Union Bordeaux Begles. Whenever he gets the ball in half space, things happen for Madosh Tambwe. And when you've got the likes of Tani Vili and Nicolas Deportes to back you up, well, anything can happen. Well, they're missing some of their most flamboyant players to the Six Nations, but just step forward the next man. No Mathieu Jalibert, no Damien Penaud. Makes no difference.
Yelbire, Moefana.
Yeah, it goes
Niku.
on, doesn't it?
Oh.
Enzo Hervé with the catch. Last minute of the game. It's becoming all or nothing now for Toulon, as they try to keep this 100% record going at home in top 14. Slow ball. In the end, it needs a flanker to come and get it out of the ruck. Donglo back on his feet. Hervé spreads it out wide to Tolefua. Here comes Wasser Naklalevu. Well brought down by Deportes. Donglo recovers. Hervé. Vaganinga coming into the line. There goes the hooter. So they now know this is the last piece of play, barring penalties. Donglo, Hervé. Every catch important now. Every pass needs to be precise. Hervé spreads it out wide again. Christopher Tolefua, the hooker, charges forward, gets an extra couple of meters. Ribbons, second row forward, tries to bite another couple of meters out of this drive. Inside their own half, though. Hervé. No kicking forward at the moment. Fayaninga. No way through for the dangerous left wing. Donglo, no way through that way. Goes back the other way. That's where all of his reinforcements were. That is Alaga, who we haven't mentioned him much actually in the game. And he'll be heading off to the French national side ahead of the Six Nations match next week. No Tap 14 next weekend. So the Six Nations Rugby Europe Championship gets all the attention. Yannick Brou with a rather unexpected victory now on the cards.
They've got to stay patient, Bordeaux, giving away penalties like this, even though the hoot has sounded, just concedes ground, gives Toulon more encouragement. The referee warned them then, no, monsieur, don't touch the ball. They kept going at it, just pushing it a little bit too much.
Christopher Tolefua with an important line out here. It's straight into the arms of Ribbons again, and the driving maul is underway. Being countered, though, by Bordeaux Begles. They're grabbing their way across the pitch rather than forward, so they decide to give up on that tactic. Paoa tries to break through. Hervé, Wasea. Oh, there's an attempt at a jackal, doesn't quite work. Emeric Setiano, the replacement tight head prop. Back the other way. Pawar again, bounces off of Garcia. Deportes trying to grab hold of the ball, but he can't get it either. Facundo Issa sets it up. Still coming. Cornel Deprez. They are coming forward though, Toulon. Getting nearer, the pressure building. The ratchet tightening, but they are still behind. They need the try. And they might get it. Out wide again, Jules Coulon, and it goes into touch. And Yannick Bru's side will take a famous victory. Toulon's first at home in top 14. And for Bordeaux Begles, it's a third straight win in top 14, away from home. A wonderful match all around, and it's finished. Toulon 32, Bordeaux Begles 37. What a titanic battle until the end.